What a race we had this weekend for the Daytona 500. We had to wait because of a few different rain delays throughout Sunday afternoon's running. But when we got going, oh boy, get going. What an event this was, as always, to kick off the 2025 Cup Series season. And for the first time for a competitive race in 2025, I am here with the NASCARchronicle.com to go over all the action, the main talking points, the main things we learned, the 5 things that we learned from the 2025 Daytona 500. So let's dive in, guys. Let's have a look at the main highlights from this race. And I'm telling you, I had such a hard time trying to narrow all this down to a highlights package, but I'll do my best. I do implore you go watch the race if you haven't already. It was such an entertaining encounter. But yeah, let's get into this. So Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric, they qualified on the front row thanks to their qualifying efforts. Being top 2 in qualifying gets you on the front row for the Daytona 500, and they led in the early stages. However, we got a long rain delay after around 10 laps. We had a caution, and then it was, instead of being in the afternoon, it was nighttime already by that point in Florida. But the rain couldn't end the day's running. I was afraid that we were not going to be able to complete this race on Sunday evening, but we did do that, thankfully, and we got underway for the remainder of stage 1 in the night. The winner of stage 1 was Joey Logano after avoiding a multi-car wreck between the likes of Denny Hamlin, who got loose, who also collected Josh Berry and Zane Smith in the process. That was not the only wreck that Denny Hamlin was involved in. I think he pretty much rescued it as well with that, but not before some of the cars behind him did trip up. And I also believe this is the first time that Joey Logano has ever won a stage at Daytona 500. I think I heard that stat in the commentary, so well done to him. However, the second thing we learned is that Joey Logano really sucks at restarts, or at least he did. At least he did on Sunday evening. He just missed it or something. I'm not sure what happened. He did not get off the, well, not off the line, of course, because it's a rolling start, but he didn't get going again as fast as he would have liked. Because of that, a bunch of cars basically behind him all bunched up, and we had a huge wreck. John Hunter Nemechek, Kyle Busch, Helio Castro Neves, who of course making his NASCAR debut thanks to the OEM rule, the World Class Driver rule, the controversial rule in NASCAR Cup Series racing this season. He was out because of this actually as well, so his NASCAR debut did not go to plan. I hope to see him back maybe at NASCAR at some point, but choosing the Daytona 500, I know from a marketing point of view it's great, but from a survival point of view it's the worst one to go for because it is the lottery. I always call it lottery. You never know what you're going to get, and when your number is up in the 500 you're out, and unfortunately he was after that. Later on in the stage 1, once we got going again, Chase Elliott pushed Ryan Blaney across the line to win stage 2. A bit of a mishap from the guy who was further down the road. I think it was Reddick perhaps, I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but Blaney actually did win stage 2 as a result of that. And we're only on to the third thing already. The third thing that we learned is we got into stage 3. We had 16 laps to go, and we got a big one. Not the big one. There are a few more big ones still to come. I think this was probably the biggest of the 3 big ones that we got at this Daytona 500. Either this or the last one at the end of the race. This one was a pretty big one though, for sure. And again, Joey Logano involved in this one. Joey Logano, though, I think was probably an innocent victim in this personally. I would say that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the guy really to blame for this one. Stenhouse Jr. did try to block Logano. Logano swerved down to the inside to try and get out of the way of it. And then Stenhouse Jr. again tried to block Logano. Did not work out. They ended up spinning. Everybody ended up wrecking. A lot of guys out because of that. A lot of big casualties. And the biggest one of them all was Ryan Blaney. He was in position to really win this race. And unfortunately, it did not happen for him in the end because of this. He did get a strong finishing position, and Blaney actually leads the championship because of his performances in the rest of the stage as well, getting some stage points to his hand. And the winner of this race not getting many stage points at all, but we'll get into who that was very soon. But yeah, the fourth thing we learned, we did have a restart and another huge wreck straight away. Pretty much 5 laps to go. I think we restarted at 9 laps to go. We got to 5 laps to go. We got a wreck. Because of that, we went into overtime eventually as well. This second wreck was started by Bell, who was spun by Custer near the front. It was a really nasty crash for Ryan Preece. I think he had a nasty one at the 500 last season as well, and he had another one this time too. I've never seen a car go airborne in the manner that he did. He did eventually roll over and everything, but he was literally flying through the air for it felt a good 10-15 seconds or so, which might not sound like a very long time, but when you're flying in the air at 200 miles an hour, that is a long time. That is a long time to contemplate your life decisions at that point. But thankfully, Priest was relatively okay. He did get out of the car eventually. Obviously, the medics made sure he was okay and everything, but he did not continue in this race. Obviously, the main thing is that he is all right. That is the main thing there. But yeah, like I said, the final thing, we went into overtime. Despite being 9th at the restart, William Byron ended up winning this one. Back-to-back Daytona 500 victories. The first guy to do that since Denny Hamlin managed it in 2019 and 2020. Fantastic for him. And he did it basically because he avoided all the chaos ahead of him. The third big one, the most significant big one of the big ones in this race. All the leaders just basically took each other out. Denny Hamlin, again, he was another guy involved in this, unfortunately for him. But yeah, Tyler Reddick ended up in 2nd place. And Jimmy Johnson, 7-time Cup Series champion, 3rd place on a part-time entry. Again, he has his critics, he has his haters. People are saying he's past it, he can't do it anymore. Why is he competing in NASCAR? 3rd place. 3rd place. Unbelievable stuff. I'm so happy for him. Of course, he would have wanted to win it. And I spoke about how if he won this one, he would join the all-time greats of the Daytona 500 itself. Of course, he is an all-time great already. But I mean, for this race, in terms of the most wins, he has 2. Denny Hamlin and a bunch of other drivers had 3. He would have been able to join them had he won. And he almost did it. He almost did it. It was a great race to the line between Byron and Reddick. And yeah, Jimmy Johnson using the experience, the nous, he's almost 50 years of age now. And here he is, avoiding all the chaos in front of him to get a 3rd place. Incredible stuff. Chase Briscoe was 4th. John Hunter Nemechek was in 5th. 6th, Alex Bowman. 7th, Ryan Blaney. I mean, despite the wreck, he did cross the line in 7th place. Austin Cindric in 8th. In 9th place, it was Justin Allgaier. Of course, he's ineligible for driver points, but he did get 9th place on the road. And 10th place, Chris Buescher. Ryan Blaney leads the standings after the first race by 1 point ahead of William Byron. Byron, because of his win, he's in the playoffs pretty much no matter what, unless we get like 20 different winners through the season. But yeah, William Byron is into the playoffs with that as a result. Cindric in 3rd, Reddick 4th, Bowman 5th, Buescher 6th, Eric Jones in 7th place despite finishing 12th on the road. Jimmy Johnson is in 8th. Obviously, he won't make the playoffs because he's a part-time driver. John Hunter Nemechek is in 9th, and in 10th place, round out the top 10 despite finishing 4th on the road, Chase Briscoe. Incredible stuff, guys. What a race to start the season. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm so glad we got running on Sunday afternoon and eventually Sunday evening despite the rain in Florida. But yeah, we'll be back very soon for the next race in the NASCAR Cup Series season. We're heading to the Amber Better Health 400 in Atlanta Motor Speedway in Georgia. I believe that race is in just a week's time. I will double check on the calendar for you guys, of course, though, just to be absolutely sure of that. And it's in a week's time. So yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start for the race. We'll be here to cover it on Monday morning as normal because that's too late for me here in the UK on Sunday night. I got other things to do on Sunday night. So yeah, what do you think about this race, guys? Who was your driver of the day? For me, I'm going to give it to Johnson just for a bit of a I don't want to say a pity point because it's not, because he's 3rd. He did a fantastic job. To do that on a part-time entry is absolutely unbelievable. Who's your driver of the day, though? Let us know in the comments below. What do you think of the Daytona 500 this year? And yeah, see you soon for some more content on the world of NASCAR on the NASCARchronicle.com, guys. Have a great week ahead and see you soon.